Getting a drone to hold its position perfectly in the air is one of those things that sounds simple until you actually try to do it. If the GPS signal is drifting or the compass is acting up, you are basically asking for a headache. This little M8N module from JeeFly is one of those components that tries to solve that by throwing a massive amount of satellite data at the problem. It is pulling from GPS, GLONASS, Beidou, and QZSS all at once, which is honestly overkill in the best way possible. When you are out in the field, that translates to locking onto 26 satellites or more, and that kind of redundancy is exactly what you want when you are flying something expensive. What stands out is how snappy the refresh rate feels. At 10 Hz, the positioning data is updating fast enough that the flight controller isn't guessing where the drone is. It actually knows. For anyone running a Pixhawk or a modern F4 or F7 setup, this is a pretty straightforward drop-in replacement. It comes with the mount and the cable, so you aren't hunting for extra parts just to get it bolted onto the frame. The cable length is about 270 millimeters, which is usually plenty for most standard builds, though if you are flying a massive hexacopter, you might find yourself wishing for just a few more inches of slack. The LED status lights are a nice touch, too. It is surprisingly helpful to just glance at the drone and see that solid light indicating a lock, rather than having to stare at a ground station screen to see if the coordinates are stable. It feels solid enough in the hand, and the build quality is decent for a generic component. It is not going to win any awards for premium materials, but it feels like it can handle the vibration and the occasional rough landing without falling apart. Now, there is a bit of a catch. If you are still holding onto an old APM flight controller, this isn't going to be your best friend. It is built for the newer generation of hardware, and depending on the specific firmware you are running on your Pixhawk, you might need to spend a few minutes updating things to get it to talk to the controller properly. It is not exactly plug-and-play in the strictest sense if your software is outdated. Also, while the compass is integrated and works well, you still need to be careful about where you mount it relative to your power distribution board to avoid magnetic interference. That is just standard practice for any compass, but it is worth keeping in mind. For the price, it is a solid, reliable piece of kit that does exactly what it says on the box without any unnecessary fluff. If you need a stable hover and a return-to-home function that actually brings the drone back to the right spot, this is a very sensible way to get there.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.